But we all get frustrated in life, and most of us, I think, probably get pretty frustrated at our jobs. Some, if you're lucky, it's not too often. A little bit better than others. And I guess I had a moment where I was not hiding my disgust with some things very well on my face, and a coworker was walking by, and he's like, "Man, you look like you need a vacation." I was like, "Man, I feel like I need to dip out for like a week." Dude, that'd be the fucking deal, man. Just like living on an island. You know, you get up in the morning, you know, you go out on a boat, swim into the ocean, you cast a net, you get some fish, go back. That's early morning. Sun's starting to hit the water. The fish are getting a little scared. Maybe I go find a gourd that I've stored in the bush that's got my a special fermented drink made of honey and fruit nectar. You know, it's like a little twist on that. And then maybe I go over to a cove with a little bit of shade. That's where the fish are now. And I've got like a little spear. And I just fucking let's get a couple of them motherfuckers, you know, and just crack them open, just eating fish raw, like, you know, fucking like God wants you to. And then maybe, you know, I go in my rucksack, you know, okay, I got the food. It's in a pail or some shit, and I get under like a banyan tree, and I go through my rucksack, and I have my lunch, you know, some cherry tomatoes, some low sodium beef jerky, you know, the good shit, and I take a little siesta. And then sun's starting to come down, I'm down at the beach, and I'm digging a fire pit, and my wife and child come down to meet me, and my wife, she's a native woman. Can't understand a word she says, but you know, it's sometimes you feel like that's for the best. And my son, you know, it obviously mine, not the milkman's for sure, but you know, has these same beautiful, striking eyes as my paramour. We were cooking dinner, and we're just like listening to, I don't know, like Rush or something on like the waterproof Bose speaker, and I'm just, you know, I'm packing a one hitter, and you know, life's pretty fucking sweet, you know. You know, as I'm watching the sun get even with the horizon, and I'm starting to think, you know, it's not too many more summers before my son can join me on the boat and go to the cove, and he can understand this life and what it brings, and maybe he can find a woman, and we can perpetuate this lifestyle. And then I think that, wow, it's probably not too many summers past that he'd be old enough that I can trust him with the wireless Bose Bluetooth speaker. I can also, you know, tell him about the time that Drew Toothpaste did trans erasure.
48 minutes of dogs barking. 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 Growl. Growl. 48 minutes of dogs barking. 48 minutes of dogs barking.
Our very own Norm Macdonald, everybody. Oh, Brian.
Yeah, man, what's going on with you?
What a fucking
Welcome
week.
to 28 minutes of dogs barking.
Oh, we're 28 minutes now.
48 minutes? Yeah, I am fucking tired. Life is beating me in the ass like I'm a fucking stepkid that burnt dinner.
Yeah, 40 minutes of dogs barking. My name is Jason. This is Brian.
The sons of the hogs you could not crank.
Exactly right. That's... Oh, boy. Well, we have an interesting show for you today. I know some of you have been with us for a while, and you've heard us talk about Dracula Flow, Plum Cork Records, etc. The gentleman who plays Dracula in that is an actor, goes by the name of John Walker. And Australian people on the internet were surprised to discover that, well, he was on the news. This is a TikTok from the comedy group Churdleys, by the way. He was not actually on the news, but the clip is pretty wild.
Travis Kelce touchdown in Sydney this morning.
I've always loved her, but now I consider myself a diehard Swiftie.
Travis Kelce is the luckiest man on earth. He gets to hit that every night. She's a billionaire. Taylor Swift ain't no two-nickel fuck.
Taylor and Travis taking time out to be tourists.
Travis Kelce is hitting it like this every night. then that ball boy is lucky.
Oh yeah, the
It's short and sweet. I hope there's not a lot of those because I hate to see it get run to the ground like the fucker and the pussy.
there's definitely a limit on how much I can stand of that sort of thing. But this was very well edited. They even included ducking the sound in and like all these little tricks that TV news teaches you. And yeah, whoever put that together I think that's Churdley was the TikTok account. They're some skilled folks.
It is fantastic.
Yeah, it's just
Hey, have you been keeping up with the boys over at Plum Corp?
Plum Corp is going through some shit. Yeah,
Yeah, the
Randall Times was on a podcast asking what sexual position is right for CEOs to a guy named Dr. Shit. So they signed somebody new.
Big Shooter.
Big Shooter.
He's Big Shooter with the monkey nuts. He kills for his cousins. He's been in prison how many times?
7 times? I can't remember.
It's like four. It's like obviously an exaggerated number, but it's like 428 times.
Oh,
And,
okay.
this is real murder music. I think is how Randall Times explains it. There's a insane mythology that they're building. I don't have the time to really keep up with it, but every once in a while, a new video will show up in like my recommended for you, and I'll try to watch it. And god damn, it's
right,
just,
dense.
it's for interesting mythology. They're branding through or winding through a YouTube page that also has things that are just like. It looks like a guy they found working at a car wash doing like Perk City, like
Oh yeah, love Perk City. That's a great
big
one.
swimmer.
Big swimmer, big shooter, and then Randall Times himself.
How to live like a CEO. Go down to the first. I go to the gas station.
Right.
So I get some backwoods, and I get some scratchers.
Yeah, if you've not tuned into this before, I highly recommend Plum Corp Records, all caps, Plum with 2 M's. They will make you go insane, I think, is part of it. It's like you start watching them and then your vocabulary changes because...
Yeah.
just Dracula Flow, which is always a good entry point, is
They
just...
must have forgot I'm him.
Right. Her ass was moving at an egregious angle. Yeah, that guy, though, John Walker, wow. I'm keeping an eye out for him because he's just... I love him so much. They could have hired him, because he's an actor,
Yeah.
and replaced Unknown Henson with him versus... I can't remember what they actually did.
Tracy
Morgan.
Tracy Morgan, there we go.
Plays Tracy Jordan on a different show. That always screws me up.
Yeah, Tracy Morgan. I watched a couple of those episodes. They're fine.
It's all right.
Yeah. It's just a real shame. Unknown Henson, you did a really great job as a fake redneck squid, but perhaps you were flying too close to the sun and being too much like the character you were portraying.
Yeah, something tells me. Well, it's been a good week for shitheads and liars, Brian.
Hell yeah.
Some of you may know, courtesy of H Bomber Guy, about a gentleman named James Somerton. To summarize H Bomber Guy's 4-hour video, there was this guy, he liked to wear turtlenecks. He was big into doing analysis on queer media. And that was his whole bag. But then somebody went through and said, wait a minute. This isn't your words. This is lifted from an essay here and an essay there. And they went through and they found just tons of instances of plagiarism. So he did the responsible thing and did a half-ass apology, nuked everything, and went offline for a while. Well, the other day he appeared again, thankfully sans turtleneck, doing another video apology. This one they're referring to as Apology 2.0. Janitor Jackie on Twitter here saying, so in summary, in his new video, James Somerton blames his nonstop plagiarism on
Being poor.
rushing,
Co-writer Nick.
being cis, male, and white,
Trying to represent everyone.
a brain injury,
ADHD.
his mother's death.
His mother's insurance company.
That's right, folks. Now, if all of those things sound like things you shouldn't be blaming for your plagiarism...
My small little pecker, which I got stuck in between the slats of a fucking porch chair.
Bobby Moynihan!
Why can't I say that word? They get to say it all the time. Yeah, it's just it's gaslighting. It's look what you made me do kind of shit.
Yes. Here's a clip.
And here's something I'm sure a lot of people will call a bullshit excuse. I have memory issues because of a head injury from when I was a child. They're actually getting worse. I've talked about it on streams and in videos. So yes, it is real, but some people will call it a bullshit excuse anyway.
So the pathologizing of the behavior is what I got an issue with. Okay, because you know what? I have ADD.
Mm-hmm.
I got anxiety, I have a medical diagnosis for both of those things.
Yeah.
And yes, that makes things tough for me.
Mm-hmm.
But like when I fuck up or I make a mistake and it negatively affects someone else or it makes me look bad, like I kind of still have to own it.
Yeah.
I can be like, hey, I'm sorry. I have these things going on or whatever, but like I still got to own it.
Right.
I'm saying maybe don't hit me so hard for it.
Sure.
But like I fucked up.
Right.
Like I made a mistake. And it sounds like he's really just trying to skirt responsibility.
He's small being ooh-wooing. Please don't, please don't be mad at me. I got a brain injury.
Bully kid took my souvenir, the fucking Cardinals baseball bat, cracked me on the back of the head because I said his dog was a
Yeah, something like that.
It is a golden retriever, but
principle of the thing, yeah.
Principle of the thing. Shut the fuck up, man.
Yeah.
And I have a sliver of empathy, like the thinnest piece of gabagool.
To a degree, yes.
Because being a content creator is a fucking grueling and very much like a thankless job. Pretty much every person, no matter their niche that's like on YouTube, social media, or whatever, it doesn't matter if they are doing content like this, if they are doing stuff about video games, or they're doing shit about photography or art analysis or film, the amount of time it takes to go into, even if you're just like doing the walking and talking kind of sort of setup, that goes into like a 10 or 15 minute video, that's like fucking can be still like tens of hours.
Mm-hmm.
It's not fucking easy, and and also you have the expertise to do stuff right, to learn how to edit. How, if you're using cameras, like how to best get your captures and all that. The fucking F-logs and all that shit, man.
Like white balancing.
White balancing goes fucking on and on and on. And so, yeah, if he unintentionally did a little bit of lowercase p plagiarism, I think most people could probably give him the benefit of the doubt. But this motherfucker's a fucking British man in a burnt shirt spent like a good 30 minutes fucking roasting that dude's nuts over a fire. The grill was a fucking shopping cart stolen from a fucking CVS.
And he deserved it. One video, a section of one video, 10 minutes here or there. Okay. Credit your sources. Don't do it again.
Yeah.
But a history, which is what there's two different guys.
It's chronic.
Yeah, there's two different guys. Todd in the Shadows and H. Power Guy both went down the line and were like, "This is stolen from here. This is stolen from here." And they cited their sources and they showed their work. Once you get to that point, and that's what you're doing, this is no longer ooh, I have a brain injury. It is like, I don't fucking care. I'm doing whatever. Like,
I'm getting that sweet Patreon money.
Yeah.
How much was his Patreon making?
I don't remember, but I know it was 5 figgies at least.
A month?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Ridiculous.
The fuck that up.
Fucking up a job in the New York Times. Also very easy to do somehow. This according to... I can't get over this article. Adam Rubenstein writing in The Atlantic. I was a heretic at the New York Times. Have you read this article, Brian?
I have not.
Well, the lead is really the only thing that's important in it because it shows this weird depth of like utter weirdness that New York media people are. But it opens with, on one of my first days at the New York Times, I went to an orientation with more than a dozen other new hires. We had to do an icebreaker. Pick a pink starburst out of a jar and then answer a question. My starburst was pink, I believe, and so I had to answer the pink prompt, which had me respond with my favorite sandwich. Russ and Daughter's Super Heapster came to mind, but I figured mentioning a $19 sandwich wasn't a great way to win new friends. So I blurted out, the spicy chicken sandwich from Chick-fil-A, and considered the ice broken. The HR representative leading the orientation chided me. We don't do that here. They hate gay people. People started snapping their fingers in acclamation. I hadn't been thinking about the fact that Chick-fil-A was transgressive in liberal circles for its chairman's opposition to gay marriage. Not the politics of the chicken, I quickly said, but it was too late. I sat down, ashamed.
Yeah, you know what? The spicy chicken sandwich at Chick-fil-A is kind of objectively delicious. That
Yeah.
I believe that is the crux of people's frustration with the bigoted ways of
Correct. Yes.
is that like it's kind of fucking delicious,
Yeah.
but it is food that is enshrouded in a film of bigotry and hatred.
Yeah, it's a miasma of filth that kind of comes with it on your soul, not on the sandwich itself. And so it's kind of is this worth it? It is a very long article, but essentially Adam Rubenstein was the rare conservative writing for the New York Times opinion page. And it was this
This really
very,
fucking goes
very
on
long
and on.
article. It does go. I think the chicken sandwich thing is kind of what people have latched onto because that's what you can read for free. First of all, you're working for the New York Times. Okay. And you think, well, a $19 chicken sandwich isn't the way to ingratiate myself to these people. Well, you done thought wrong because that's probably their favorite sandwich too. They work for the fucking New York Times. What do you mean? These are not lunch pail people.
Yeah, stuffy motherfuckers have bidets in their apartments. I'm sure
They probably have bidets in the
they
public.
probably have bidets in the fucking lunchroom.
That's what I'm saying.
Fucking wash your ass before you eat lunch.
Yeah.
Fuck, man, that's living like a goddamn king.
So the rest of the article is about him fighting with Tom Cotton. It was a whole thing, but
God, man, you're just kind of scrolling through this. It seems so far I'm not seeing anything that really lives up to that intro.
no, it really isn't.
I was really figuring like one day he was going to return to his desk and there was like a spicy chicken sandwich in a noose or something.
Yeah, covered in blood or something.
Yeah.
The chicken sandwich story was just like, oh, I said a big bad oopsie with the liberals.
Yeah.
Like, fuck you, dude. It's just stupidest story. And this whole thing centers around Tom Cotton wrote an op-ed that Adam and his colleagues signed off on that was really not great. That was it. And so, like,
I think I vaguely remember this piece.
yeah, a lot of staffers objected to it, but they didn't say anything. Adam and his cohort were like, yeah, no, this is important and it needs to come out. And it's just, the Daily Mail has their take on it. A former New York Times writer said he was cast out and chastised for naming a Chick-fil-A sandwich. It is the latest example of the woke attitude from the New York Times.
Yeah. You know,
In the article, they include a helpful photo of this said sandwich because,
yeah.
that's all they talk about in this Daily Mail piece was the fucking chicken sandwich. So, like, it made news for the dumbest reason.
And it's funny because the New York Times has probably been the biggest proponent of manufacturing consent on the Israeli Gaza conflict, or really massacre, genocide. Mm-hmm. And so I hear stuff like the woke New York Times. Like I work with a guy,
yeah,
who-
or Mark Levin would call it the New York Slimes.
New York slime, Mr. Producer, Mr. Producer. I work with a guy who was like telling me that the DNC, they're going to replace Biden with Michelle or Michael Obama.
Oh, of course, yes.
At the last minute. And I'm like, all right, dude.
Yeah.
And then there's also this same guy called the New York Times a far left publication. And I was like, my dude, like, God damn, man. Like, what is it like living inside like, a Toby Keith simulation or something?
Yeah. He's got the Apple Vision Pro on. And it's just everybody has Toby's face, and
the fucking AI enhanced skull packing his lip.
everywhere he goes, I love this bar. Yeah, it's just not great.
Oh, what we got next, Chief?
Next, we got a photo. Newsweek. I saw this was some Newsweek had to fact check this. I saw this. I was going through news stuff, and I go to the fact check section because sometimes you find interesting fact checks, and I sure as hell found one. Newsweek fact check photo of Donald Trump and Joe Biden smoking weed is bogus. Tom Norton took time out of his busy day to tell us that this photo, yes, Joe Biden and Donald Trump holding up some dank buds with giant bags of it behind them. Donald's got a bit of a spliff there, a haze of smoke in front of them, that was bogus. That is Instagram creator Man Meets Machine, by the way. He has a way with AI prompts that it gets pretty believable. Here's another one in the back of the limo.
This is my favorite one. They look like they're on their way to see Swedish House Mafia.
Oh, hell yeah.
Fucking back of the limo, got the fucking
gallon bag of
bag of dang. It's mids.
You
You can't be smoking too good like that.
No, that's true.
You can't
especially,
be fucking passed out.
That's true.
By 10.
Right.
Trump fucking blowing some fucking big clouds. They're fucking doing roof hits in the back of this limo.
Yeah.
Boy, my dad could smoke.
Tell me how to roll my first J.
He could get 7 hits out of one bowl.
Just the cloud above them. They're hotboxing the limo. That's no
goddamn.
Question,
They're fucking
man.
smelling like a high school bathroom.
Oh, hell yeah.
Why can't this be reality?
Yeah, I was saying something like this where like, man, this would heal the world.
Yeah.
My smoke's too good, Joe.
My smoke's too good.
My bitch too bad.
Money too long. You've got to stop, Donald. They'll kill you.
I don't care.
I don't care. Fake news.
I'm gonna make that my phone background. It's just, it goes hard.
It's fucking amazing. It's fucking beautiful.
Upcoming guest, Kator Jensen. Ooh. He'll be here next week. Posted this. In case you missed it, the CEO of Tumblr wrote the funniest tweet of all time and then immediately deleted it. This from Matt Mullenweg at PhotoMatt.
When will you be honest with your followers that the repeated adult content violations were not pictures like this, but likely one of your other accounts, in parentheses, actual names, Irish Big Cock Girl, Burger Foot Job, Furry Vorbarps, Breadstrogen,
Breadstrogen, yeah.
Cum Burp, Dog Girl Ball Sack, Hung Queen, Big Titty Cock GF, Big Cock Titty GF, Girl Taint, Musk Mommy, Girl Ball Sack, Shower Sharts, Sapiosexual Breeder, Cat Girl Hairball, Cat Girl Condom, Cat Girl Cum Sock, Cat Girl Ball Sack, Cum Spangler. These all sound like noise bands.
Yeah, I think I was saying that, like, man, I really want to be in a band called Cat Girl Cum Sock. What? What is the, what? Who's he even responding to? We don't know.
It's amazing. It's
And immediately PhotoMatt then blocked him. Dude, I said you wrote the funniest tweet of all time. Come on. Etten64 responded, reading this in politician trying to copy Obama cadence. Let me be clear. Cat Girl Cum Sock.
Burger foot job. Hung Queen.
Cum Spangler.
Big Titty Cock. GF.
I like that the user in question, by the way, did both Big Titty Cock GF and Big Cock Titty GF. Covering all your bases is what that's called.
Obviously. Just making sure you got all the URLs.
You got to get them all. All right, Brian, it's time for Crypto Scam of the Week.
You're listening to 48 Minutes of Dogs Barking, the podcast.
And now it's time for the Crypto Scam of the Week.
Oh, yeah, baby.
It's a bit of a twofer. It's a bit of a twofer only because they're related in that they're impersonation scams that led to the crypto scam happening. So, the first one I saw reported was Friends star Matthew Perry. His Twitter account was hacked by crypto scammers.
Hi, I'm coming back from the grave.
Right.
I don't want to live. I just want sex.
The fake tweets were, donate your crypto to the Matthew Perry Foundation. It said, here's our different crypto addresses. Deeply grateful for your generosity. Any contribution is appreciated. The Matthew Perry Foundation. Now, the Matthew Perry Foundation is a real thing. MatthewPerryFoundation.org. These wallet addresses, obviously not actually associated with the foundation. Danny on PC, bruh, scammers hacked Matthew Perry and are begging for crypto. Bitcoin, DT, and Solana. A day before this, the account belonging to Bitcoin hoarding software firm MicroStrategy was also hacked. The attackers reportedly promoted a fake airdrop to MicroStrategy followers that offered official Ethereum-based tokens. According to ZachXBT, the scam stole $440,000 worth of crypto.
Amazing.
Just that one. This here is Crypto Slate. PeckShield, the Bitcoin security chain, warned that the offending post contained a phishing link that redirected to a copycat website. MicroStrategy deleted the post, but they have not said a word about it as of yet. Scam Sniffer reported that most funds might have been stolen from one victim. $440,000 worth of funds from one victim due to an unsigned batch signature, which gave multiple token approvals to the attacker. Etherscan data shows the attacker has already begun moving the funds, leaving 62.9 Ethereum in the exploiter's address as of press time. That's about $195,000. You know, this kind of thing is trending. It's going to keep happening. It's really fucked up that they're impersonating dead people. It's one thing to fuck with
Elon Musk,
right,
or Kardashian, or someone who plays for the Calgary Flames. Or...
right. Someone who's, I don't know, alive and not a universally beloved figure. It's kind of grim that that's where we're at. Couldn't have picked anybody else. And it's specifically saying all the funds are going to go to this foundation.
I'm just thinking how funny it would be to hack into Lizzo's Twitter account and be like, I'm raising money to abuse my employees again.
Oh boy. Well, you might not be discovered for a while, I guess. Yeah. Oh, jeez.
Wow, this is exactly the same as the real tweet that she made.
Kinda, yeah. But yeah, Scam Sniffer did a whole piece. $300 million last year was all these phishing scams. Just phishing scams, not rug pulls, not anything else. Strictly limited to phishing scams. According to this article, $300 million from 320,000 investors just last year. I'm not good at math, but it looks it seems bad.
Yeah, that's a lot of money. That's like 6 Delmar Loop trolleys.
I like how you know what? Yeah, and every one of these cryptos.
It's like that meteoroid that was 140,000 miles away from Earth being described as big as like 8 washing machines. Well,
a weird unit of measure. Yeah, okay.
Interesting. All right.
Someone commenting there, Robert Sassow, the sad reality of crypto. It's so easy to scam people and steal their tokens directly. I think he meant steal. ERC token standards are not fit for the modern world of finance. It creates a haven for scammers. When will this space move on to better standards? It is a must. I don't think it's the standards. I think it's people are shitty, and they're going to do this. He's looking at the wrong solution. The solution is, I don't know what the solution is. Honestly, it's human nature to fuck other people, but
I don't mean to interrupt you, but we got a Dream Blunt rotation here on the What's Happening. Dream Blunt rotation here on the What's Happening here for the Twitter.
Yeah.
It's Larry David, Jackie Chan, and Cat Williams.
Okay. You know what? Yeah. I mean, it's going to be like 2 minutes in, and Larry's going to say something to Cat, and then it'll be like a fist fight. But yeah.
I thought you said this week was strong.
This is mid. What are you giving me now?
I don't smoke mid, Larry. I only smoke good, Larry.
Jackie Chan's trying to balance a pencil on the tip of his finger.
Oh yeah, he's already
gone.
Yeah,
he's giving himself paper cuts and a little webbing between his fingers, and wow. Anyway. Yeah, I think people are going to have to get better. The world's going to have to get better. Yeah. If you want something that is the Wild West, like crypto, to stay the Wild West.
Yeah.
I think where the plot is getting lost for some people that are, I think, more in it sincerely for the tech than the monetary stuff.
Yeah.
Feel a little frustrated seeing like all of the banks and the big dogs, the ETFs and all that happening for like Bitcoin and probably very soon Ethereum. It seems like we're just replicating the current financial status quo, but with like no regulations. So it's really everything that is the dirt worst about capitalism and our modern financial system, but with like no governors on it whatsoever. It is just absolutely fucking all gas, no brakes.
Yeah.
There are tokens. There are blockchains out there like ADA that have like more privacy elements to them and things like that. But like, they kind of suck.
Yeah.
Like, they don't scale the same way. That the adoption rate's not the same. I hate to say it, but like Ethereum's kind of got the fucking the game by the fucking nuts because they would basically have first mover advantage. It was them and like Litecoin and Bitcoin and like a couple other fucking projects that no one remembers pretty much until, 5 or 6 years ago.
It's still fairly recent though. 5 or 6 years is kind of in the.
I mean, there was fucking Ripple. I mean, there was only like maybe like 10 projects.
Okay.
And half of those are gone. You got to think like 2016 to like 2018 was like the ICO boom, the initial coin offering.
Mm-hmm.
They had fucking bullshit like fucking Dentacoin, which was a fucking ERC20 token for like dentists.
Which, what? Yeah. I'm already numb from the stuff they shot in my face, and I'm supposed to go onto an exchange and do a what now? I'm tripping, man. What?
Anyways, man, you ready for some pork chop sandwiches?
I'm ready for some motherfucking pork chop sandwiches. You better believe it. Yes, that's right, Brian. Our main topic this week. Fensler Film and their parodies of PSAs of G.I. Joe. Now, some of you may be aware of these. They did permeate internet culture for a while there. 2003 is when it said they were created, but I feel like it was more recent.
No?
No,
not at all.
Oh, okay.
Because I actually had a friend for my 18th birthday. I turned 18 in 2004. God, I'm fucking old and dying. He burned me a DVD with a bunch of like wares on it because I didn't have fucking broadband at the time. And one of the things he put on there was all of the G.I. Joe PSAs.
Wow. Now, if you're not familiar with G.I. Joe, it's a cartoon about a bunch of military guys going to do military stuff. And it was to sell toys like every cartoon of the 1980s was. The toys came first, but then the cartoon was like, hey, let's do this. And so 2003, VHSs were getting passed around. And, well, this gentleman, Eric Fensler, decided, you know what? I'm going to have some fun. And so he stripped out the audio, made new voiceovers. And, boy, they are just absurd pieces of weird-ass art.
Fucking surreal. Some of them feel a little one note.
Oh, sure.
But buy them. Buy massage machine, go.
Yeah.
There's all these. We can watch the compilation right now.
Sure. You can find it there. Elite Guy has it 16 minutes long. It's the entire collection.
God, the animation's so shitty.
Yeah.
Oh, man, check out that thing, man.
What do you want to do with it?
Let's launch over it.
Who wants a body massage?
What did he just say to us?
Low. Mr. Body Massage Machine. Gone.
What the hell?
Body massage.
Speaking of logs, I'm gonna take the Cosby kids down to the river. It's on your sleeve. Get fire on your sleeve.
No.
Okay. Alright. Stop.
Vistina transkino tu yoksha chil. Aline ayo viskesha inania kilo.
You didn't take anything out of our tent, did you?
G.I. Joe!
Some of the better ones, they really play with the dub. Obviously, the body massage, the pork chop sandwiches.
Help computer.
Help.
Stop all the downloading.
Yeah. There's always these little, almost like you can barely hear them jokes. In the one where the guys, where the Native American fellow's trying to put him out and then just keeps rolling him on the ground. Before the fire starts, it's, speaking of logs, I'm going to go take the Cosby kids down by the river. He's going to take a shit.
Yeah. And he's also like rolling on the ground, you can barely hear a didgeridoo.
But also the kid that's doing the voiceover is just going,
I'm good.
Real absurd. Obviously, the short format helps The old animation, because it can be so easily edited, definitely helps. Because much like, I don't know, C-Lab, for example, C-Lab 2021, very sim premise. They made those 10 minutes, but they take old footage, remix it, and they're doing some new stuff with it. Even old Space Ghost episodes were very much based in this kind of style of futzing with animation. It wasn't necessarily a new technique, but I think they had something special because the voice acting was always so weird. Like they had these kid voices, but I think it was just other adults that were like pitched down or pitched up as they needed to. And it was very odd stuff. So these, there's a ton of them. This is 16 minutes long.
You're not cooking. Yeah, I do.
Pork chop sandwiches. Oh shit! Get the fuck out of here! What are you doing? Go! Get the fuck out of here, you stupid idiot! Fuck, we're all dead! Get the fuck out!
My God, did that smell good?
Detect it. No going and you tell me do things. I done running.
G.I. Joe!
And so each one ends with, from the Fensler Film Council, which obviously is not a real thing. They did all this stuff, according to this article I found via The Verge, body massage, G.I. Joe, and the invention of the viral video. Here's the opening. 2003 was an important year of American culture. Baghdad fell, the Human Genome Project was completed, Britney and Madonna French kissed at the MTV Music Video Awards, and no less significantly, at least as far as internet culture is concerned, it was also the year of the G.I. Joe PSAs, 25 weird short videos made from re-edited versions of 80s G.I. Joe cartoons. It depends on how old our audience is. I never really look too closely at demographics because I don't want to know if everyone's 20 years younger than me, but G.I. Joe, the cartoon, always ended with PSAs. Things like don't touch down power lines. Have new batteries in your smoke detector. Be careful around campfires. All these things that are very common sense, but also very good things to know. Presented in the same style as the show, and then it ended with, and now you know, and knowing is half the battle. Yeah, the one we referenced before, Roadblock is the G.I. Joe character's name. Pulls up in a Jeep, and who wants a body massage? And it's as he's taking a downed power line off the road. But yeah, pork chop sandwiches. There's a whole one about.
I don't think I've ever seen this one.
This one about being gay.
Oh yes, this one's great.
That was Brad. Huh? Hey, sup?
Susie, don't forget your sandwiches.
Hey,
I made
sup?
you. Sandwiches. Oh, you boys look so lovely in your little outfits.
Hey, what's up, Mr. Lafitte?
Hey, watch me, Ollie.
Oh, I just want to eat you up.
Love the tattoo, Mr. Lafitte.
Look at all your different colored hats.
G.I. Joe!
Yeah, just a supportive gay dad who's just very hanging out with his daughter at the skate park. Nothing wrong with that. The process of creating them Fensler goes into here is you crack the DVDs and then dump all the footage, watch it with the sound off, and then just kind of figure it out. Yeah, give him the stick.
Don't give him... Get off my fucking lake!
Doug Lussenhop was Fensler's friend there. He helped with the first ones, got him screened at an art gallery in Chicago called Heaven Gallery. They did more showings, I guess, is what you'd say. There were more screenings, there it is, which became packed with fans. They then started handing out VHS copies of the shows to people who asked. The gallery uploaded them to its webpage. The traffic they generated crashed its servers. After that, the PSAs were picked up by eBaum's World and Heavy.com. Articles were written. Now, one of the questions asked of Fensler, if you could design a cool toy, what would it be? Fensler, a special pill you take that expands in your mouth as flavored foam so it looks like you're barfing. Fensler made some animated promo spots for C-Lab 2021, so the vibe fits. Cartoon Network's Adult Swim. And a full episode that never aired. He tried and failed to make a live-action soap opera with mannequins called Sunset Feelings. Lussenhop then went on to be an intern for Tom Goes to the Mayor, a very early Tim and Eric project. He started doing writing and collaborating. Hooked Fensler up with a gig, Writing for Tim and Eric. Awesome show. Great job. Fensler stayed with the show for 5 seasons. I get that. I can, knowing what I know about the Tim and Eric vibe and how awesome show is laid out. Yeah, it kind of fits.
There's some of that DNA in Tim and Eric Awesome Show.
Fensler worked with them on the Flying Lotus music video Dance Floor Dale. Have you seen this, Brian?
I haven't.
That tracks. Yeah, these awkward close-ups of some...
This is very Tim and Eric.
Yeah, awkward close-ups of normal-looking people in front of these weird psychedelic backgrounds. They're dancing awkwardly. They don't look very comfortable and or happy to be there. But yeah, just he also did a music video for the Daniel Johnston song Monster Inside of Me, using footage from Captain America from the 60s cartoon.
Yeah, I feel like these are one of the few things in like the aughts that if someone was online enough to have like a MySpace page, they probably knew at least a couple of these.
They would very quickly permeate the culture. Yeah, it was very odd because the only 2 things I can think of from that time period is it's going to be those and like really early Flash stuff that doesn't always age well, you know. But for whatever reason, G.I. Joe parodies, I think part of it, what really works for a lot of people is their shortness.
Yeah, they're really quick. They don't overstay their welcome. Some of them really go in a direction you don't expect.
Yes.
Because, I mean, like fucking, help, computer.
Yeah.
What? Stop all the downloading. It's just...
A lot of you, the viewer, is going, what?
Oh, hell nah. What's up, dog?
Hey, kid.
What?
I'm a computer. Stop all the downloading. Help, computer.
I don't know much about computers other than the one we got in my house. My mom put a couple games on there and I played.
G.I. Joe.
Yeah, I mean, it is like an inside joke. It definitely feels like a bunch of friends that were riffing.
Yes.
And I think that's some of the best creativity when it comes from like a small group of people kind of doing shit that's really just, it feels like it's for themselves. And they're like, you know what, maybe I should put this on YouTube or E-Bombs or something like that.
They're sitting around watching them with the sound off, and someone does a bit and like, hold on, write that down. And then they just rip through it. And it's like, yes, it's done. And then they did it 25 more times, which doesn't seem like a lot until you watch them back to back. It's like, that was 16 minutes straight of these little bite-sized pieces of comedy. And each one has just so much happening in it. It's just like you said, that I didn't even notice the didgeridoo until you pointed it out.
Yeah.
I didn't even know it was there. And then I'm like, oh, now I hear it. Shit. There's still stuff to find. Our first result was a compilation of all of them. But yeah, I'm sure you can find them just as easily. We had a lot of references come up to it. There was a movie, a G.I. Joe movie a couple years back, G.I. Joe: The Rise of Cobra. Did you see this one?
I think so. It might have been one of those things where like I had like a stomach bug or something and just needed to kill time. I'm like,
it was a stinker.
This is on I mean, I don't think either one were particularly good.
It was a real stinker, but they did a tie-in video game, and they were going to have, the Double Helix Games had planned to include pork chop sandwiches in the game, but it got cut. Apparently Hasbro killed it. This here Gamer Vision from 2009 reporting pork chop sandwiches cut from G.I. Joe game. Article by Coop, I guess. They ran it past Hasbro's legal department, who took issue with the phrase's inclusion and shot it down. They fought the fight, but it just couldn't happen. Apparently, there are already some lawsuits out involving the PSAs, and they didn't want to take a chance to harm their case. Understandable, but regrettable.
Oh, hey, free Halo 3 downloadable content.
Oh, I got to get this. Oh, wait, hold on. We got a show to do. Let me just bookmark that for later. There was a group called Super 7 who made a G.I. Joe line, which included the parody characters Pork Chop Roadblock, a Body Massage Roadblock, and I'm a Computer Mutt. Venture Brothers did a riff on it. You remember this one?
Yes, in the second season episode, Hate Floats. My favorite one, though, is apparently in Duke Nukem Forever. After killing pig cops, occasionally Duke will say pork chop sandwiches. He will also utter the phrase body massage after grabbing a vibrator in the Titty City level.
I've never played Duke Nukem Forever. You could be fucking with me, and Wikipedia could be lying to me. I would never know it.
Upsettingly misogynistic and bad in a way that I didn't expect. I did know one person that played through that game from front to back, basically just to say they did.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, yeah, this is a game that was in development hell for so many fucking years. The story behind Duke Nukem Forever is kind of insane. I remember at one point there hadn't been any news about Duke Nukem Forever from 3D Realms for like years, but someone found like the development team's like Steam group.
Okay.
And they were all playing like Team Fortress 2 or some shit. It was just like, yeah, everyone wants to play. Yeah, it's just everyone wants to play TF2. Fucking 2 Fort forever. Yeah. But I remember him saying that like if it weren't for like all the misogyny and like all the just like tasteless stuff,
right,
it probably would have been okay.
Yeah.
Regardless of everything. But it's like, yeah, there was actually some stuff, some ideas that weren't terrible. But then the motif of this game is just so outdated and gross and weird. Like at the beginning of the game, Duke gets like it's implied that he's getting a blowjob from two twin young women. They're dressed kind of like cheerleaders. They get abducted by the aliens or whatever very early on, and it's part of kind of like Duke's rescue the princess kind of
that's been there since Duke Nukem 3D.
But you eventually get on like the alien spaceship or whatever. He finds the twins, and they are being like metamorphosized into like the ship, like it's this organic gross thing, but they're like topless, and it's really weird because you are kind of like encouraged to like kill them. And like not in like a mercy killing, but more like a ha way, because like you kill, dude, you're fucked. It's very like, oh, this is just uncomfortable and mean, and it's not Duke Nukem going, oh, I've got balls of steel.
Oh, John St. John, the voice of Duke, by the way, has a TikTok channel where he takes requests for things to say in the Duke voice, and it is fan-fucking-tastic.
Amazing.
I'm here to define gender, chew bubblegum, and I'm all out of bubblegum. Like, what? It's real fun. John St. John, look him up. There was a comic book, G.I. Joe Storm Shadow, making a reference to pork chop sandwiches, the Weezer video for Pork and Beans. They should have stayed broken up. Anyway, that's just me. I know they're a beloved American rock band or whatever, but like, no. 2 good albums, you're fine. 2 good albums is great. Some bands don't even get that.
Yeah, fucking Weezer.
Yeah.
That's rough. Just thinking about Weezer's rough, man. It's like,
yeah.
It's like remembering like your first goldfish that died. You're just like, man, that.
Yeah. So the WFMU interview, and so they asked him, how did you go about making them? Avid, Final Cut Pro Tools, classic stuff, nothing really unusual. The best media attention was seeing the Hasbro lawsuit on the Hollywood television show Extra or E.T. or something. So strange to see it on the BooTube. Internet artist gets shut down over Hasbro property. Hasbro sent them a cease and desist, said take them off the internet or legal action. This Eric Fensler again. I talked to my Uncle Joe, who's also a lawyer, and he said I had a case, but, quote, do you want to go through it all? Do you have a lot of money, young man? I said, no, I do not have any money. I'm broke. So I took them off the internet. No harm, no foul. Plus, I was on to making something different anyway, working a full-time job, a family to protect. It wasn't a big deal, other than it had gotten all the way to them. I never thought Hasbro would see them. Then eventually YouTube came out, and they were on other sites, so who cares? NA Mag continues, there's a definite mashup feel. I doubt these pieces were receiving all that much airtime 20 years after their original production, so the Fensler film redubs brought new life to them, while turning them into something different. Was that what you were going for? Eric responding, I was just trying to have a laugh. I think that's all I ever do is try to laugh and have fun in both my work and my life. It led to a career for him. It sounds, because I mean, he's still, as far as I know, still working, still making things, and still kind of influencing the culture behind the scenes. It was a nice stepping stone. They still exist. Obviously, people are going to continue to put them up because they are just genuinely funny.
Yeah.
They're just kind of this weird touchstone of a certain time period on the internet. It was very Wild Westy. Like, yeah, sure, we're going to fucking do whatever. Fuck Hasbro, ha ha ha, you know. These days, you would probably get copyright struck within a second for that kind of thing. Yeah.
It was when you could kind of be weird and funny on the internet and not have to think about, like, what's this going to do to my brand?
Yeah, you weren't monetizing everything.
Yeah, you just kind of did shit for the fucking fun of it.
Principle, the thing is still that, like, it was still an interesting idea. It was still an idea. It wasn't just like, hey, Skibidi Toilet, Ohio. And, like, that's the whole thing.
That's the joke.
So Fensler film, G.I. Joe PSA has led to a nice couple of careers for those two gentlemen. So good on them. So, yeah, it looks like he was working for Portland advertising agency Whedon and Kennedy, best known for Just Do It and the campaign about Old Spice. Yes, The Verge here. People respond with seeing familiar images with a weird voice or something non sequitur thrown in. And G.I. Joe had that formula. Says Lesson Hop. Recently, Lesson Hop and Eric Wareheim released a video with an original rap about hippie pubic hair called Backpacker Bush. They're still doing it. They're still doing weird shit, trying something new.
What a beautiful thing for when the internet was fun.
A very specific time and place, for sure.
All right, you ready to see something gross?
I am ready. I am ready to see something gross. This here is the Shock.jpg segment.
And now, the moment you've all been waiting for.
Shock.jpg.
Yes, sir. This here, Dad Party.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
Is it better or worse than last week's?
It is much better because, A, it's shorter. It's just a loop. But it's also no bodily fluids. Originally hosted, of course, dadparty.com. But also under the other names, yourdadisgay.com and motherman.com. This one appeared on LulzShock, so the description on LulzShock for all these is always so funny because they're so overwritten. Dad Party is an internet shock video famous online artwork. This piece shows a man having sex with two transsexuals. The looping song reference making love like a man clearly juxtaposes with content showing a man having sex with two transsexuals. Many have commented on the complexity of the video and the thought-provoking content.
I think the worst part about this is that guy's tattoo.
It's a very of the time and place, to be sure.
Wow.
So those are trans porn stars Christy Nichols and Brandy Scott violating a man to the Def Leppard song Make Love Like a Man.
The animation, apparently, according to the Shocker or Screamer wiki, also appears on the website yourdaddyisgay.com. I think Your Daddy Gay would be funnier. But what was the song from Ghost Town DJs, My Boo?
Oh, different song. Okay.
Yeah. Other shock site called motherman.com.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's real. It feels very early aughts. That feels like it came from the same era as, Meat Spin and Tub Girl and all that.
These short looping bits of like, hey, it's porn with someone who has got a weird, at the time, to you, the viewer, an unusual gender representation. Isn't that fucked up?
Is it funny because they're trans?
Right. That's what we would be saying now. Is it funny? Because that's literally the joke behind some of these. Like, we went through the whole process of setting up a website to be like, haha, gay. Isn't that great?
Here's something you thought you would never see.
Mm-hmm.
But now you will see it every day for the rest of your life because the internet becomes a swirling cesspool of offensive material kind of just shot at you.
Yeah. This one, like Goatsy, like Lemon Party, it's like now we're just like, it's quaint. It's like, yeah.
It's quaint. It's sad to think that there are children that were born in Gaza during the beginning of the conflict, and they've unfortunately already passed, and they'll never know what it is like to see Goatsy.
It's true. Yeah.
All these things taken away from these poor young lives.
All the possibilities.
And one of the things taken away from them is they'll never see a man prolapse his own ass with his 2 hands with a visible wedding ring.
Yeah.
Looking like it was taken with a webcam.
Yeah.
And unfortunately our government is complicit in this robbery of so many things from so many lives.
Yeah. Yeah, they're
I'm actually petitioning Assad to drop leaflets in Gaza
of just printouts just to make sure that everyone gets a chance to see it before they die. Yeah, that's good. I like that.
Yeah. What they don't want to tell you that those aid trucks that everyone was swarming last night that the Israelis fired upon, not only did they have humanitarian aid, but they also had photos of a woman getting vomited on by a man dressed as Popeye. They were so starved for shock. I was just like, they were so starved for shock image.
Yeah. Okay.
That they were swarming the trucks, getting trampled and run over and shot. They were risking their lives, and some of them did lose their lives.
Yeah.
Just to see a photo of a herpes breakout on an elephant. This is probably one of the darkest things I've ever riffed on in the year plus we've been doing this awful podcast.
Awful show. Yeah. It's awful. Why do you listen to this? Give me a call, 314-246-9766. Tell me why. Tell me why.
The IDF is not telling us is that there was surge.
Original formula surge.
Original formula for Loco.
Yes. Okay. See. All right.
They were so Arby's. They were so hungry. They were so hungry they could eat Arby's.
That's hungry, baby.
It's time for the breath mint.
It's time for your mom's favorite part of the show. It's time for the breath mint.
What you been up to this week, Brian?
Got another Sopranos update for you.
Okay. All right.
We finished season 5.
Oh, wow.
That fucking animal, Tony Blundetto.
Yes. Good old Steve Buscemi.
I think it's a great season.
Mm-hmm.
And having Buscemi and introducing such unlikable human beings as Phil.
Yeah.
And not having a lot of Meadow.
Yeah.
I think
that is a strength. Yes.
I don't begrudge the actress's performance. I just think that show just didn't know how to write a young woman.
Yeah, they didn't know what to do with her. Because I've seen her in a couple other things. I'm like, yeah, performances are always good.
She's good. But it's like, they really just wanted to do the son, who's just like a shithead kid.
Right.
What? So no fucking Z?
Yeah. I mean, he steals the show from like early on. And then, he takes a little bit of a backseat. But as he becomes a teenager and then a young adult, you start to see shades of young Tony in him, which is an interesting parallel. I like to see that.
Tony's guilt about his cousin, and also where that puts Chrissy.
Mm-hmm.
And this whole season really builds up a lot of empathy towards Chris.
Yeah.
But then, the last 2 episodes, really, they fucking set you up.
Yeah, they called their shot early on, and then it's paying off now.
How is his fiance's downfall?
Yeah. You can just go ahead and say it, man. I'll cut whatever I need to cut.
Fucking fucking Sal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
or Silvio.
Yeah, it takes her for the drive. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like she had to know that was her last ride, just as much as Big Pussy knew.
Yeah, I haven't seen that particular episode in a while because it is hard to watch at certain points. But I think to a degree she had to know. Was she resigned to her fate? Maybe.
Perhaps.
I think was like, this is what I deserve.
Or maybe she didn't want to believe that Chris would give her up like that. But these guys they're loyal to their situation.
Yeah.
To the degradation of basically everything around them. And if that means, killing a woman that loves you and has covered your bullshit and put up with your bullshit and stuck through rehab and all these things, when she does give you an out.
Yeah, he had a way up.
He goes to the gas station and sees like the unhappy dad.
Yeah.
And is like, "Nah, I'm good." And he's just like, "Really? I want to keep the Hummer H3."
Yeah.
All right, man. And then, of course, the show shows that everyone's detestable.
Yes.
And there's that scene with the FBI agents where they're like, well, I don't know. Do you think she fled or you think she got clipped? And they just kind of like move on. They're like, whatever. And I mean, they do kind of the same thing with Pussy.
Yeah.
And a couple other informants.
Yeah, they're callous because they're like, nothing matters except getting the big guys. So these other these other humans whose lives they've destroyed completely in some cases are just like, well, it's the cost of doing business.
Yeah, but I mean, that's kind of been the FBI for the last 20 or so years, too, is just causing all of this damage just to say, like, well, we got a guy who wouldn't have probably ever done anything wrong in his life, but we basically bullied him into doing it.
Yeah.
So we could arrest him in Times Square and say that he was going to light a bomb on fire. But we had to, like, bully him into taking the bomb-making materials. And we had to have an informant help him put the bomb together. You know, like, we had to do everything. We just had to
hold
find
his
a guy
hand
to
through the
point at
process.
and be like, he was going to do it. Also, you have Tony and Carmela getting back. Tony, you can get in the fridge now.
Oh yeah, the big.
He's strutting in there like finally get back in the fridge without getting bitched at.
The fucking fridge, like that's the power struggle. The fridge.
I feel like that is like the fridge privileges.
It's like the litmus test. Like how much can I get away with? Because they had the big blow up, and then he's been kind of weaseling his way back in the home.
But he's also like fucking miserable.
And he knows it. She knows it.
They're in a situation they can't ever get the fuck out of.
Yeah.
And it's illustrated quite well in the first episode of season 6 where the one fucking, soldier, but he's like, I got this inheritance. Can I just like raise my family and be a normal dude? And Tony fucking jerks him around. Chrissy jerks him around. Sal jerks him around. And he ends up fucking killing himself. But it's also after, his wife fucking hates him because they can't get out. He shows them that like their kid's doing fucking smack. The FBI, it turns out he's also an FBI informant.
Oh, boy.
And because the fucking old guy fucking keeled over that was snitching.
Oh God, yeah.
Well, another asset died, so we need you where you're at.
Yeah, we need you to stay where you're at. Yeah, it's like
fuck. But you're seeing these parallels. This guy is stuck in this life. He wants out, but he fucking can't because of the implications.
Yes, there's a lot of external pressure. Yeah.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, you think with all that money that Tony's been giving to the fucking Russians to squirrel away from him, that him and Carmela, once the fucking kids were out, and had their own lives, that they couldn't fucking dip out somewhere.
You'd think.
Tony, I think, sees that there's still some freedom in this life. Carmela sees the convenience and the ease, even if there's the ugliness to it. But you see with the soldier, his wife fucking hates it.
Yeah.
I mean, Carmela hates it too. But like, she likes, the Porsche Cayenne, and there's all
the furs
fucking,
and the jewels and the sushi and there's the accoutrement that come with the lifestyle that she's grown accustomed to.
Yeah.
That
guidance counselor dick just can't tap.
Nope.
It's an interesting season. I can see why some people don't. It's a little slower in some respects.
Yeah, but I think that actually works in its benefit. It allows things to breathe a little.
Yeah, and fucking Meadow's boyfriend hanging out with all the wise guys at the fucking construction site.
Fucking A. I love that.
And it's fucking funny that Meadow doesn't tell her boyfriend, like, yeah, my dad's mobbed up.
Right.
The one got her boyfriend's funeral, where like her cousin and Rose's daughter are talking. Someone starts talking about mob shit, and Meadow has to be like, fucking shut that shit down. Like, it's uncouth to talk about this in front of like the commoners, basically.
Yeah. This is our thing, not their thing.
Yeah. This is this thing of ours.
Yeah.
I can see why so many guys with fucking Scarface posters that I knew in my early 20s were really into this show.
Yeah. It's definitely got a lot to say about masculinity and like be a man, all this shit, and like how that's actually not good, actually.
So many times these guys come off as dinosaurs. Anytime they have to interact with like someone young, like like Meadow or her friends, or people that work just like normal jobs.
Yeah, we don't do this in polite society. We're not like this anymore, and even those characters kind of have to push back against that.
So what you got, Big J?
I got two things. I did finish Night Country. I'm not calling it True Detective Night Country. It is Night Country because that is my firm belief, now having seen the rest of the series, that it was originally written as its own thing, and they tacked on all this other True Detective stuff to try to tie it to season 1 for no real reason. Taking it as it is, which is a story about a place, Ennis, Alaska, where some mysterious shit happens. It's all kind of vaguely supernatural. I enjoyed it. I can see definitely how the ending would be a bit odd for some people. They may not have been expecting let's say a Lynchian type of ending where it's a touch more ambiguous than other seasons of the same show.
I could see that.
So I'm trying to give it the benefit of the doubt because the performances were so strong, and like you said, the setting is so strong, and a lot of elements are just right there. But yeah, there's some stuff where you do kind of go, okay, all right. Small town police captain, to keep the peace, decides, you know what? The official version of events is what we're going to go with, because I don't really think any of this was not really all that unjustified. I'm going to let this go.
Well, I think it's also for her own safety.
Well, there's that too. Yeah, she is in a room full of
there's some implications.
Because there are more people that keep coming into the room as the story's being told, and she's like, well, I am really fucking outnumbered here. It's a great season. You definitely, with a grain of salt, you do have to think like this, all the other True Detective stuff was tacked on. Let it go if you can, because that definitely helped me appreciate it for what it was. But again, Jodie Foster kills it.
She gets fucking banged like Selma Blair in storytelling.
Hell yeah.
Which is
nothing
really
wrong with that.
It was like really weird. Like, oh, this is just like almost a 1-for-1 beat for Selma Blair getting railed by the black high school teacher. It
kind of was, yeah. The guy that she's having sex with is Chris Eccleston, doing a fantastic American accent. Chris Eccleston, to me, at least in my group of friends, is mostly known as the first of the new revival Doctor Who's. So it's like, oh, Doctor Who is fucking, I guess.
This Doctor Who likes to fuck.
I think they all like to fuck, but this one at least, got on with Jodie Foster. That was nice. And then my other thing was Persona 3 Reload. I did finally finish Persona 3 Reload. I have nothing but good things to say about this game. This is the 4th time I have played Persona 3 in various formats. That would be the PS2 version, the PS2 version called FES, which is the festival version, which had a whole tacked on second game mode called The Answer. The PSP game Persona 3 Portable, where they took all the 3D environments and made it a visual novel, but then added a second playable character, the female main character, also known as FemC. And then this one, on the PS5 there, Persona 3 Reload, all the assets remade, nice, sparkly, and HD, and modern graphics and all that. But they kept a lot of the story stuff the same, and I think that's why it still is. It's not my favorite. Even though I've played it so many times, I think a lot of the reasons is later entries, Persona 4 in particular, nail a vibe better. Persona 3 has a lot going for it. There's this unique idea of the dark hour, which is the
25th hour.
Yeah. Not the movie where Edward Norton tells everybody to fuck off, but this is I think part of it is the dungeon crawling, even with all the enhancements in Reload, is still a drag. It's 256 floors, and they're randomly generated, procedurally, generated. Even with all the bells and whistles and rickety-rackety from the Reload update, it still is 256 floors. It's still just a slog.
Yeah, I heard Tartarus is still kind of, it's not as bad as it was, but it's still not amazing.
There's not much else you can do. They've really tried their best. They had the Navigator have an option where you can spend some of her SP and get a buff for the next battle. There's all these different things that you can get throughout the game, and they do help. But it's still, it can be a drag towards the end. Man, the story's still so great. It's that whole found family deal. They're doing it in a city, and each of the Persona games has, post 2, has followed this very same formula of, you get a found family, you use the power of your social links to defeat God. It's
to murder, the supreme being.
Yeah.
Yeah. I played a good amount of Persona 3 Fez
Mm-hmm.
when it first came out. I think it was a point of time when I was unemployed.
Yeah, you definitely needed a time sync for these games.
Yeah,
for
and
sure.
I think I think I was still living at home at the time, and my mom was out of town for like 4 days. And I think I just cooked food, played Persona, hung out with the pets. Like a pretty tight weekend.
Yeah, I'd kill for one of those right about now.
Yeah, shit. Yeah, same.
Sounds pretty good, bro.
Yeah, I just remember being like, oh, wow, this feels really like a breath of fresh air, because it felt like very Japanese.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
But it didn't really hold your hand about anything.
Mm-hmm.
That is an issue with the first two Persona games. The American translations are
dog shit.
I would say the first Persona's translation is so bizarre and weird that it's kind of endearing.
I can get that. Yeah, sure.
I heard the PSP version of Persona 1 that is more in line with the original Japanese, and it also has the Snow Queen.
Yeah.
All that, the Snow Queen side mission or side story. But it's someone that really loved Persona 1 and never got to play Persona 2, but definitely read enough about it.
Right.
Getting to play Persona 3 and being like, wow, what the fuck? And at the time, I was talking with my ex at a time when we were kind of friends back after when we first dated a million years ago. And she's a fucking weeaboo. And me and her were talking about Persona 3. And it was kind of fun because sometimes you go through points in life where you don't feel like there's other people that are into the same media as you.
Yes.
And I think that was a lot harder 10 years ago than it is now.
Oh, yeah.
So having someone that want to talk to me about this kind of semi-obscure JRPG was kind of nice when most people just want to play Gears of War.
Sure.
Play the brown PS3 games, and shit like that.
Yeah, sure. Or they're playing Rock Band or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, Rock Band. I've heard a lot of good things about Reloaded. I will probably get to it at some point. I still need to beat 5.
Yeah.
But
are you playing Vanilla 5 or are you playing Royal?
I have Royale on PS4, but I have not plugged in my PS4. It's technically plugged in, but I have not turned it on or played anything on it.
Sure.
Since I moved in my new apartment, which has been almost 2 years.
I was going to say, it's been a while, yeah.
Yeah. Well, my Xbox does everything I need it to do.
Well, right. Yeah, for sure.
Also, the thing about Persona 5, and I think I've discussed this before on here, is that, holy fuck, man, you just can't, it's not like you can just only play a couple hours of that game. That's the sit down and play that game, you have to dedicate a whole fucking night.
Yeah, you're locked in.
And I just can't make that sort of time commitment.
Reload has a few modern conveniences that will help you at least in that. There's a new thing where you can save anywhere. So rather than having to go to the dorm and go sign in at the front desk, now you can just hit start and save wherever you're standing, which is nice. That's also very nice. There's also a feature, if you feel like you fucked up on a social link, that it auto saves at certain intervals. And so you can go back to an autosave. That's always nice. It doesn't autosave your main save, but that's just a little feature you can use. Very much like Persona 5, they have this town map, right? Mm-hmm. But unlike in 3, where you kind of had to wander around to find where your social links were, it shows you where they are and tells you whether they're either going to go up today or not. And you can kind of make your decisions based on that. There's a lot more calendars, places where you can kind of check things, schedules. There's a lot more opportunities to do part-time jobs and earn money, because that was a big one in the early game. Earning money was always such a pain in the ass. There's a lot of stuff that's improved, like Elizabeth's requests. Elizabeth, the Velvet Room attendant, has a bunch of requests for you to do. Much, much fewer of them are specific to certain dates. So now you can kind of tackle them whenever you feel like. A little bit more lenient in that regard.
One of the things that kind of bummed people about the original iterations of Persona 3 was you almost needed a strategy guide to make sure you used everything pretty much right.
Yeah, and it can be nerve-wracking trying to get all your stats up and do all that. It's the same with any one of them, but it's also a very generous New Game Plus mode. If you feel like you want to go through the game again with all your stats maxed the way they are now, that's always nice. That's been a thing since the original 3, but I think the New Game Plus mode in this one allows you to also keep all the fusion levels, which was not a thing for a while. So if you are able to fuse certain end game personas, you can still fuse them. You don't have to fuse them before you save. So that's always nice. I think the end game is expanded just a little bit, gives a few more characters something to do. All sorts of new little systems, theurgy, which is almost like an ultimate attack that each character has. Hangouts in the dorm with them build skills for theurgy that can be used later. So it incentivizes you hanging out with your teammates as opposed to just people from your school. A couple of expanded romance options, which was neat.
That's what I heard, yeah.
There's a little bit of room for, it's entirely possible they could add the female main character as a...
That'd be nice. I remember some people really liked the female main character. I gotta ask, I know it's new audio. Did they bring back the original voice cast, or is it new people?
It depends on the role. They recast Junpei.
Really?
Yeah. If it's not the same guy, it's somebody who really sounds like. I want to say it was Junpei. I could be wrong. It could be Akihiko, but it was one of them. One of them got recast. But yeah, they re-recorded a lot of lines, if not all of them, because there's just so much extra stuff now, and there's so many different pieces of content. They reworked a few jokes that didn't quite land. There's one joke in particular where you were on a class trip to a beach. You're on a babe hunt, and the boys run into the one babe who is in the original game a trans woman, and it's played for laughs. Well, in this, they changed that to trying to rope you into a cult that sells like $300,000 sunblock. So I'm like, okay, all right, you're getting there. It's not perfect, but it's a workaround to a really transphobic joke.
So they got rid of the sissification storyline. The sissy hypno story.
Yeah, when Junpei starts listening to sissy hypno, yeah, they got rid of all that. They also didn't keep Yukari's line about Junpei being the F slur. Yeah. That's a joke. That's a joke.
I was gonna say, I'm like, I don't remember that.
It's a meme among the Persona community that, because there's a line, Junpei calls himself Ace Detective, which Yukari responds to more like Stupe Ace Defective. A while back, somebody redid the audio of that to where it said more like Junpei the stupid F slur. And so like, oh no, they cut that. They cut the. She doesn't actually say that now.
That's amazing.
But yeah, it's a great game.
I hate to say it, but I feel like I would have remembered that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like my
that would have stood out. Yeah.
one of my bosses asked me, "Hey, do you have that thing that was supposed to go to Collinsville?"
Okay.
I go, What thing's supposed to go to Collinsville? And he starts explaining. It's like, I've never had anything go to Collinsville the entire time I worked here. And I would remember if it was Collinsville because there used to be a sound engineer in St. Louis named Colin, and he was a big whiny asshole, and he would say things. He did sound at Cicero's. He wasn't really a whiny asshole, but he was a character. But he apparently got perturbed that Cicero's stopped offering shift lunches or shift meals to people doing sound, which is bullshit. But another sound engineer who was a little bit annoyed with Colin would say things like, "My name is Colin," and Colin, I have to lived in Collinsville. "My name is Colin. I live in Collinsville, and pizza grows on trees."
Ooh.
And so I'm explaining this to my boss.
Yeah.
And he just has this bewildered look. And I say, so this is just a long way to say that I would never forget if I had something going to Collinsville.
Right, because in your
my
head...
internal monologue would be, "My name is Colin." and he cuts me out and goes, "Okay, I get it." And
yeah, once you have to start explaining something like that.
Well, he gave me this look like you don't fucking remember. And I'm like, I would not have ever forgotten
Collinsville
because I have this thing burned in my skull like a brand from a hot iron that I will never forget.
I remember the funny things. Anything that's funny, I will stick in my brain. Yeah,
I was fucking helping the sound engineer that originated the Colin voice and all of that. I was helping him get a vintage tape deck that was reel to reel, I should say.
Oh, okay.
Out of his basement with like half dozen people. Those old fucking MCI reel to reels are fucking heavy.
Yeah.
It was a abnormally warm day in December, and we're getting out of the basement. We're taking over Smithley Studios in Maplewood, and we finally get out up the fucking stairs, and he starts doing that fucking voice. My name is Colin. Yeah, I can't remember. And now we're all doing the everyone's doing the fucking Colin voice. And his fucking wife's in the kitchen, and I guess she was getting dinner ready.
Yeah.
And she comes out on the back porch, and she goes, "Are you meaning to tell me there's fucking 8 grown men in my backyard all making fun of poor Colin?" And the guy, he's smoking a cigarette because that was anytime he ever had anything funny or poignant to say, he always had a fucking cigarette in his hand. He says, "Sorry, babe." And she rolls her eyes. She starts to walk into the house, and you can hear her go, "My name is Colin."
She's doing it too. All right.
Oh no, I remember like running into Ryan used to do sound at off Broadway.
Yeah.
But I hadn't seen him in years, and I just started doing the Colin voice. He just started getting a she and gray. He's like, "Yeah, we still do that."
Oh God.
Yeah, it's just like poor Colin.
Yeah. He's just out there living his life. He doesn't know.
Colin also originated, well, you know.
Oh.
Have I ever told you that, Rick?
You have told me that.
So
You know.
for folks that aren't familiar, every sound engineer, every guy who does sound in St. Louis for a period of time said, "Well, you know." It's spread among them because there's not, St. Louis is kind of a small town.
Right.
I remember someone was telling me it's the biggest small town.
Yes.
There's really a dozen main people doing sound in
Sure.
St. Louis at different levels, and they all like helped each other out. Hey, my fucking soldering iron broke, or can you help me fix this fucking channel strip on this old Alan?
Or whatever it was.
They people helped each other out, and there was, so Gary, who did sound of the Firebird, would be like, "Well, and fucking Jerry showing up in his old Galaxy 500 be like, coffee in one hand, cigarette in the other, like, "Well, And, but Colin would be like, "Well, because he asked Colin how he was doing. I remember one of the last times I ever saw Colin, he was at the Firebird, and Mike and Bert, I'm like, hey, Colin, how you doing?" And I'm sitting in a booth like eating lunch, and he just goes, "Well, and I'm just like fucking eating like eating a salad from like Crazy Bowls or something, and just like fucking
trying not to lose it.
Yeah, I'm like fucking losing my goddamn fucking mind. Well, Tuesday night, I got to photograph a little band called Blonde Redhead over at Delmar Hall.
Okay.
That was a fucking great show. Not just one of the best shows I've ever seen in that venue, probably arguably the best sounding band I've ever heard in that room.
Okay.
And I've seen like great shows in there. I've had a great time there so many times, but something about like their mix, it wasn't super loud. And allowed a lot of the dynamics of what they were doing to come through. You see something like Boris. Boris is going to be fucking... I mean, Boris puts on a great fucking show, don't get me wrong. It's kind of just loud. There's not like a lot of dynamics for quieter things, but Blonde Redhead kind of do come out of the loud, quiet, loud, a little bit of like the Pixies.
Yeah.
And My Bloody Valentine and Sonic Youth and... I mean, I don't think they're like a super like loud, noisy band, but they do have those moments in their repertoire for sure. But yeah, I was just kind of taken back by just how fucking good they sound. And this is a band that hadn't had a record out in almost 10 years. Their last record came out last year, Sit Down for Dinner. The last record before that came out in 2014, so 10 years ago. And I don't think they really played too many shows in that period of time between that record and Sit Down for Dinner. Fucking St. Louis actually fucking showed up.
Nice.
3 bands I know that are quote unquote notable that have played to comically small crowds in the neighboring venue, the Pageant, which is a 2,300 cap room.
Okay.
It's Portugal the Man.
Yeah.
Who I personally witnessed played to probably 200 people. And it's weird to think that Portugal the Man, one of the biggest bands in the world right now, but like 12, 13 years ago, like could barely draw 300 or 400 people probably in some markets.
Yeah.
They were a great band then. It wasn't, I think people just took a while Well, they had to have that fucking radio hook on a record that had no other single on it, which is still one of the funniest fucking things in the world. But anyways, so there's that. Courtney Love, the infamous Courtney Love show in St. Louis, and Blonde Redhead.
Interesting.
Knowing that, I wondered if people in St. Louis would actually show up to this, and I want to say it was probably 400 or 500 people.
Nice.
You know, I might be overestimating it. Young folks, there were old folks. It just was. I was a little confused when I was walking up to the venue because there were so many people younger than me that I'm like, did I get my dates wrong?
Yeah,
did I fuck up? Did I fuck up?
Yeah.
I ran the Jim Utz. Always good to see him.
Mm-hmm.
No, opener Squirrel Flower. This really interesting singer-songwriter indie chick from, I guess she's out of Chicago now. She was here in St. Louis with her full band just like a month or two ago. And I remember seeing it and I'm like, oh yeah, I know that. I know them, and forgot to go. But it was just her solo, and I think she's a lovely songwriter. It's basically if Angel Olsen had like a really sick stick and poke of like a cicada. That's really the only, like, it feels
very specific, but
it feels very like Midwestern-y, you know, tearing your beer, but like but it's like a stag you bought for $1.
Sure.
At like a hip bar kind of shit.
Okay.
Which is fine, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
A lot of those compositions I think are kind of tough when it's just her. She gave a great performance, but I think only a couple of those songs to me really stuck. Like, oh, this is really fucking, it was really more just like, yeah, this is cool. I'm really glad I got to see her perform. Love to see her with a full band. And then it's like, well, now I really have to see her as a full band.
Say,
like,
now you've got
as a solo musician, like some of this stuff just fortunately doesn't hit like how I think it's supposed to.
That does happen, especially if it was written with a band. I mean, there's definitely, you can
still
tell.
Super fucking cool. So yeah, Blonde Redhead, I think are probably going to be touring for most of the year. So
nice.
Motherfuckers go and see them because that shit was tight.
Mm.
Oh, and the new MGMT record came out, and it's fun. It's not getting great reviews because I think MGMT are just destined to never get great reviews because of that second record that it seemed was purposely made to be bad. I think that's every like post-mortem interview I've read was like, yeah, we kind of wanted it to be bad because we didn't want to be like pigeonholed or some shit. And it's like, my dude, you could have just done Oracular Spectacular a second time. I think most
people would have been happy. Yeah.
What's really peculiar about that record is it kind of reminds me of like Jumbling Towers a little bit. Like it's very weird and got like kind of an interesting push-pull to its like rhythm and dynamics. I understand why people hate MGMT because it kind of feels like some people that have never done drugs trying to tell you they've done a lot of drugs. I know that is probably not true from some of the things I have heard about them pre them blowing up.
Right.
But it definitely feels like what would Pink Floyd sound like if Stuart Barrett just said he had done a shitload of drugs?
Would be a very different group, yeah.
This is what that record kind of sounds like. It's fine. Give it a listen. You might like a couple songs on there. I think Pitchfork didn't really give it like a warm review, and I don't think much else has.
Well, rest in peace, Pitchfork.
Rest in Pissfork.
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 I would have read it.
How am I going to know which black people are worth paying attention to? And also the new Mannequin Pussy's coming out.
Oh.
And the new Sheer Mag are coming. They'll be out, I think. Well, folks, I think both of those fine records will be out by the time this episode airs.
Probably, yeah.
Give them a fucking listen. I'm very the stuff of her new Mannequin Pussy is fantastic. The stuff from the new Sheer Mag that I've heard is fucking tits. Fucking go listen to those records and drink some beer that you get from the bottom of the cooler. You know what I'm saying? The real cold stuff.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely. Go mow your neighbor's lawn and tell them to fuck off.
I got one record recommendation that I've been banging a lot. The new Alkaline Trio. I was as surprised as anyone that it not only was so consistent and so good, but that it also, they got a new drummer. And boy, this guy's putting in his paces in this record because there's some drumming on this Alkaline Trio record that hasn't been done for at least 20 years on an Alkaline Trio album. And I was like, yeah, okay. That was actually, yes, the lineup change was needed.
Some drummers, man, like they fucking just lose it.
Yeah. Boy, the first track is called Hot for Preacher. And if you hear no other track from it, that one, and then it's a bad time, because they both just have these. Just the drum track is fucking killer, but then the rest of the song is also Matt Skiba. His time spent with Blink-182 was definitely, he learned a lot, and he came back really energized, and because you heard about that whole situation where he was in Blink-182 for a while, but then Mark was dealing with cancer. Tom wanted back in the band, and they said, bye, Matt. And so he's like, okay, I guess that's over. Apparently,
where are you?
Right.
Not in this band.
Yeah, well, but I mean, honestly, Matt Skiba's strength has always been working with Dan Andriano and the Alkaline Trio thing, because even when I think Dan goes solo every once in a while with a bunch of different bands, Matt would go solo, and it doesn't work unless they're together. It's just something about them.
Sure.
It's the dream team. I don't know what it is. And on this record, just like every other Alkaline Trio record, they got the juice. The album is called Blood, Hair, and Eyeballs. And apparently it is a quote from Matt's mom, who was an ER nurse. And he would ask her, so how was your night? Just blood, hair, and eyeballs. It's like, that's fucking awesome. That
is great.
Why haven't you used that as a record name before?
I'll have to give that a listen. Well,
Well,
it's that time of the show.
It is.
We're fucking putting this baby to bed and turning off the carbon monoxide detector.
That's right. Enjoy the gas leak. It's that part of the show where we tell people where to find us online. If you want to just post the words "well, at us," that would be, where can they find you, Brian?
Oh, geez, if you want to tell me, well, you can find me on all the major social media platforms as I Shot Guy Debord, ISHOT GUIDBORD, or A Music Photographer. If you want to check out some words and photos, you can go over to A Music Photographer.
Hey.
I'll be photographing singer-songwriter troubadour Maddie Diaz over at Off Broadway on the 7th, which will be the day after this episode comes out. I'm looking forward to it. It's not really my thing that I typically shoot, but she's got some fucking killer songs. It's if you ever had bad breakups and you've been on both sides, you've been the bad person and the good person in the breakup, she's got some songs for you.
I was gonna say,
maybe you've been that person at the same time. She's got a couple tunes for you too. She's also toured with a bunch of fucking crazy, but just like oh, what an interesting little CV for this person I've never heard of before. Anyways. So that's going to be going on there soon.
Excellent.
If you want to check out my photography portfolio, which I have recently updated, it's assholemusicphotographer.com.
Oh, wonderful.
So that's musicphotographer.com for words and photos. Asshole music photographer for just the photos. And if you want to check out the last only good media website in St. Louis, that's theartsstl.com. We just launched a food series. I forget the name of the man off the top of my head, but we've got someone that's eating their way through this beautiful gluttonous town. It's called Eat Me in St. Louis.
Hell yeah. Well, you see the shirt, right? I got a shirt at Hodak's. It's the horny chicken shirt.
Eat here, take me home. God damn.
It's a horny.
You can come on my back or watch, but not both.
Yeah, so it's like a sultry chicken woman on a plate.
I'd fuck it.
Yeah.
McChicken. I'd fuck it.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah. Jesus, that's a callback.
I know.
That's fucking Hodak's. You are a fucking white person.
I'm telling you.
You love going down the Soulard for Mardi Gras and going down to Dogtown for St. Patrick's Day.
I like St. Patrick's Day because it's on my wedding anniversary. That's the only reason I like.
Oh, you got the luck of the Irish.
I do indeed.
Oh, toy. So, anyways, Jason.
Yes, sir.
If the lads and lassies would like to get a hold of you on the social media, how would they be doing that there, my boy?
For fuck's sake. You're going to find me on Twitter and all the other places at Videocrime, VIDEOCRIME. And that's about, if I go any further, I'm going to start sounding like Ringo. And Videocrime, all the places, anything else that's not that, it's going to be Laser Grew CEO. That's laser with an S because I know how to spell it. You can find the show, 48minutesdogsbarking.com. Shoot us an email, jason at 48minutesdogsbarking.com or Brian with a Y at 48minutesdogsbarking.com.
Bow wow.
And you can give us a call, 314-246-9766. Tell us what you'd like to see Daniel Pearl doing in an AI video of your own creation.
Daniel Pearl watching his children graduate from high school.
Oh, now you're just bumming me out, brother. Patreon.com/48 Minutes Dogs to support the show.
Daniel Pearl voting in the 2004 election.
Oh, boy. All right. Well, that about does it for the program.
Daniel Pearl getting the COVID vaccine and getting heart palpitations.
I'm just going to go sit for a while after this.
Just sit in the dark.
Bob Dylan on repeat, just like weeping like a
One
woman.
more cup of coffee.
Oh, yeah.
I just realized that Bob Dylan is just like Helper from...
Oh, I'm sure that's absolutely intentional.
Helper from fucking Venture Brothers.
Yeah. As we always say at this time, namaste, good luck, eat the knife, give mommy a good gut fucking.
And don't forget to floss.
Don't forget to floss. Have a good one.